One common question that I get, what is the difference between IFRS and IND AS? Now here's what you need to understand. There is a body called as the International Accounting Standards Board. This is an international body which consists of finance and accounting and auditing professionals from different constituent member countries. You will have people from United Kingdom, you will have people from India, you will have people from Australia, multiple countries across the world. They come together and they have formed the International Accounting Standards Board. Now, to harmonize accounting and bringing in consistency, the International Accounting Standards Board has come up with accounting standards which are in the form of IFRS, that is International Financial Reporting Standards, and the predecessor International Accounting Standards. Now there are quite a few accounting standards like this which detail different areas of the financial statements. You have IFRS 15 which talks about revenue from contract with customers. You have IAS 40 for example which talks about investment property. You have IAS 2 which talks about inventory. There are multiple such accounting standards detailing different areas. Now, the International Accounting Standards Board is an international body. Now, I am sure you understand that an international body cannot make anything mandatory in India. Indians will respond to that saying, who are you to make anything compulsory for us? We are not going to listen to you. So, if that logic is what prevails in India, I'm sure it prevails in other countries also. So the International Accounting Standards Board has no jurisdiction over any of the countries and it cannot make anything mandatory in India. But the International Accounting Standards Board has to make sure that accounting standards and practices and policies adopted everywhere in the world are consistent throughout. Now, how do they do it? Understand that anything can be made mandatory only through a statute or only through a law. Now, who makes the law? In India, it is our parliament which makes the law. In the United Kingdom, it is their parliament, House of Commons, House of Lords, which comes together and they will make their laws. In India, we have the Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, which make the laws. Now, the fact that accounting standards are mandatory, it is not the International Accounting Standard Board which says that accounting standards can be made mandatory. What happens is, in the Companies Act 2013, which is the latest version of the Companies Act, what the government of India does is, in the Companies Act 2013, they will specifically write down that if companies prepare financial statements in India, they have to prepare these financial statements in accordance with the accounting standards. Then they write, what are these accounting standards? These accounting standards are called Indian Accounting Standards, which are issued by the Accounting Standards Board, which is a body under the ICAI. So they give a specific reference that accounting standards are mandatory. And what do you mean by accounting standards? These are Indian accounting standards or IND AS, which has, these IND AS have been made by the Accounting Standards Board of the ICAI, that is the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Now, what are these IND AS? Now, the ICAI is also a part of the International Accounting Standards Board, like many other countries. So, the International Accounting Standards, when they were made, ICAI was also a part of the process of creating these accounting standards. So what ICAI does is, ICAI through its Accounting Standard Board, it adopts the IFRS and the International Accounting Standards. It makes minor changes here and there if required to make it more applicable for an Indian setting, and these adopted accounting standards, which are IFRS and IAS in their adopted form, are known as IND AS. Now these IND AS are what you use for preparation of financial statements in India. So is there a lot of difference between IFRS and IND AS? No, there is not a lot of difference between the two. There are minor differences here and there, like some parts have been removed because they are not very applicable to an Indian setting. Some parts have been added to make it more India relevant, and that is how you birth your IND AS. So what is IND AS? IND AS is IFRS in their adopted form in India. So the point that I am trying to make is IFRS cannot be made mandatory for any country. It has to be adopted through the process that we discussed just now, and that is how the IND AS become applicable in this country.